All right. You guys ready?
I think so.
Yep.
Let's do it. Welcome to the Sofa Kingdom podcast, first podcast of the year. I'd like to welcome back our very special hosts, me, Nelson.
Me, Ian.
Ed.
Is that how you're going to do it?
Yeah.
That's how he does it.
Is that how you're going to play
That's how
it?
he does
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's going to throw off the whole fucking rhythm.
He just
Yeah.
did it. You did it.
All right, let's try.
What?
Let's try it one more time. Let's try it one more time.
What did you honestly expect?
Let's try this one more time. Your 2023 hosts,
Ed?
me. No, me.
Ed.
No, you no.
I keep
Ed.
hearing Ed.
Me Nelson.
I keep hearing Ed in my
Me Nelson.
my headphones. Ed, that's all I was Ed.
Me Nelson.
You sound like an Apache Indian. Me Nelson.
Let her ring in the new year. So, gentlemen,
Yes.
let's start on a light note. We've all seen it, I
like-
believe. It was terrible. It was trash.
Oh yeah.
It was hurtful. It was The Witcher.
Yes. Blood Origin.
Oh.
Yes. Worst show of 2022 by far.
Let them know.
I was
know. It's
getting prepared to watch it. I'll let you guys can more than welcome to spoil it because I have not seen a single person anywhere at any point in time give any level of praise to this show.
There's no spoiling what is already spoiled. It is already festering food in your closet
Yeah,
that should not be eaten.
I now apologize to Henry Cavill for any criticism that I
Yep.
threw your way for distancing yourself from the Netflix team and The Witcher collectively. That I mean, fuck.
That was a solid move on your
Henry.
behalf, sir.
Run. I mean, after the next season of The Witcher with Henry as Geralt, that show is gonna bomb. If these are the people that are behind the creative minds, that was
I agree.
fucking horrible.
It was like they took a bunch of steps backwards because here you have this masterpiece that is The Witcher, and they couldn't do any wrong. And then they took the franchise name, which is being done a lot now, gave it to what seems like a completely different writing staff
Yep.
and production team, and they just shit the bed
Well,
all
they
over
had
the place.
did-
Yeah, that's worse than the Cowboy Bebop fan base being shit on.
They did a healthy amount
Like-
of wrong, but they did enough right that the major fans were like, we will hang on.
Yeah.
Because we see how much Henry is trying to put into this, and we'll hopefully see the ship steered. Because there was some major issues. In fact, the main costumes of the soldiers was deliberately made to look like a dick and balls,
Oh my god!
just to portray the masculinity side of the army being bad.
Wait a second. And
You can even
where was
download
this
that.
portrayed at?
In Witcher.
Yeah, you can
Season 3?
No.
No. In season 1 and 2.
They refer to the Nilfgaardian armor as the ugly armor, and you can even download it in the next gen update.
Yeah.
That's
You can have the
shit.
Nilfgaardian troops in the game.
And
look
then
horrible.
they did
Well,
have
who
some.
thinks this shit up?
This was the writers. Here was Henry's major issue. There were main writers on the show that didn't just not like The Witcher, they hated The Witcher and its source material, and they just wanted the IP and the name.
Right, and then they wanted to like go back 30 years and make a TV show that resembled something like the original Merlin, but bad.
They wanted to. They wanted to be like,
Bad, awful.
we can take this thing that's award winning and we'll do better with it.
Well, they didn't. They shit on that fan base so goddamn bad.
I mean,
I'm
another
blown away at how bad it was.
Another major issue was the relationship between Ciri and who would normally be portraying her mother and her running around trying to kill her, where in any other chunk of the source material, no, that's Yennefer is literally, quite literally, her mother figure in the main story.
Right.
Adopted mother, yes.
Yeah, and Geralt is essentially her father in the story.
I think
So there was some issues, but people were like, we see the issues, but we're going to hang on. We're going to we're going to weather the storm.
right, but I
We
think,
believe Henry's going to right the ship, and Henry even went, I'm done.
Yeah,
he
he had to bail
got off.
because
He
he's
had
seen
to.
a sinking ship. But I think the most egregious part of this Witcher show was, and it wasn't the dwarf's fault, the actress that played it. I thought she could have played a more badass role if they allowed her to, but they made her very corny, and they even stole like the whole like, I talk to my hammer. I'm like, where have I seen this before?
Yeah, but-
like,
I mean, I look at how mad Lord of the Rings fans and Tolkien fans were when there were like the little changes to their show.
right?
Yep.
But that Amazon show is 100 times fucking better.
Oh, 1,000%.
Like for as bad as the Tolkien fans, the diehard Tolkien fans think they were offended.
Yep.
Oh my god! Like I can't even like.
I agree.
It's hard to put into words. It really is. I was like, Jesus, like. The whole thing was shit. Like the fucking dragon monster they tried to create had like Mortal Kombat Annihilation CGI.
Yep.
Like it was just corny as shit. And the swearing in it,
Yeah.
the swearing in it looked like it was done by a 14-year-old. That someone said, "All right, you have the creative control here. Put fuck in a bunch of places." Like, I was like, this is just
Yeah, it was
No.
pretty damn.
no.
bad.
And how did they get Minnie Driver? They got Minnie Driver as the elf in the beginning introducing it. And
Yes.
they had the original bard. They had Jaskier from the show
Yes.
in the beginning. So I'm like, oh, they got two reputable people here. Maybe this has potential. And then I saw Michelle Yeoh was in it.
Yes.
And I was like, did they kidnap her fucking daughter? Like, how did they get her to sign on to this?
And that too, like, cause she's such a fantastic
Yes.
actress, and like she's coming off the backs of Anytime, Anywhere, Anyplace. What's it called? That movie that she
Yeah, the
everything,
multiverse
Everything
movie, that was
all at
good.
once. Or
everything
some shit
all
like
at
that.
once.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
like critically acclaimed all across the board. Fantastic.
It's
She
like-
comes from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragons,
Yep.
another fucking.
It's like going
epic-
into a basement bar in Lake Worth where it's a fetish club and a bunch of clowns are fucking each other with fruit. And you look over in the corner and there's Oscar winner Anthony Hopkins. And you're like, Anthony Hopkins, what are you doing in this clown
No,
fetish
not
sex
me.
club?
I would kind of be like, I knew it.
You know it?
I knew it. Anthony.
Well, that's what it was to
I'm
me.
gonna tell your wife.
That's what it was to me.
I knew it.
And then you
Is she
realize
here?
his wife is one of the clowns.
Yeah.
And that's why he's here.
Is
He's a
she-
good husband.
Yes,
He's a supportive
yes,
husband.
That's right. Is she
All
dressed
right.
as Doink?
That's love.
Doink? Is that Doink the clown? Is Anthony Hopkins fucking Doink? Oh my god.
Or is he getting fucked by Doink?
Yes. But
Doink,
anywho,
doinking.
if you own Netflix and you think that the Cowboy Bebop rendition was bad, then completely skip The Witcher Blood Origins. It's the worst show on Netflix.
It's going to offend your
Stamping it.
sensibilities.
It's the worst show on Netflix. Shit.
It definitely
Shit.
is up there as one of the top 10
Makes the
worst
Chronicles
shows
of
that I
Shannara
have
look
seen.
good.
I think the Chronicles of Shannara was better.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
will have to say,
Yeah.
and I've seen them both
Yeah.
to completion.
I'm
That's
yeah, it's
that's
bad. It's bad.
that's a real low bar to get under.
Listen,
Oh, it's
There-
so bad. It's so bad.
There were some at least saving graces and good acting in the Shannara Chronicles, where like the whole premise was kind of shit, or they fucked up the original premise, I should say.
I love one of those reviews, one out of 10 stars, and it says if you show this to a bunch of Witcher fans in a bar in Poland, they will kill you. They would kill you. Like, you would not get out of the bar.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
mean,
die
we've
for
seen
this.
a Swedish show of Ragnarok
Yep.
Is that better?
with the ugliest actors on the planet.
You were
that
really,
was
you were really
30
critical.
times better. 30 times more beautiful.
Yes. So the Witcher was to 2022 for shows what Rob Zombie's The Monsters was for movies. Like it's
Wow.
just worthless.
High
Just
praise.
Worthless. 1 out of 10 stars. The only thing they could have did to get it to 2 out of 10 stars would be to take the fucking Witcher's name off of it and just make it some generic pile of shit.
Which
fantasy.
they honestly could have done if they're gonna. But
should've.
again,
Yeah.
they're
They could have called it Dungeons and Dragons.
they're
They could have.
they're just trying to use that IP.
They were, and
Yeah.
they've successfully destroyed it. So
Yeah.
congratulations, all the steam you had with The Witcher that Henry helped build,
Yep.
Yep.
all the fans that you got from the games and the books that were all invested in this, you have essentially lost.
And
in
I-
one week.
And I
Way to
hope
go.
that it was the guys that were trying to ruin the original Witcher, and that Netflix spots it, sees it for what it is,
gets
and
rid of 'em.
hopefully can course correct.
The thing is, that's a rough course correct. I mean, the next season of Witcher's already filmed, and they're looking at doing the final. Now, they are saying that this next season, the third one, is the one that holds the most true to the original source material.
Good.
So that could have been something that what everyone was hoping for, where they were like, "There's enough good here that we're hanging on to see where this train is going."
Right.
But now you also have the principal actor stepping away, and when you see that he steps away and the next Witcher IP that comes out is dog shit, you're like, oh, what were they trying to do with season 4?
Liam ain't gonna
If
say
he walked away, if they
Yeah.
were really going to something amazing with season 4, he wouldn't walk away.
Yeah.
And Liam,
You may want to step away.
You may want to step away, man. That's
I
not
agree.
going to help your career.
It
It's
is
a sinking
looking
fucking ship.
the
I know he wants to get out there.
signature list is getting long.
Yeah.
It's getting
Bro,
long.
Liam, that ship is going down.
Yep.
If you get on the helm and commit to that, you will crash and you will burn with it. This is me predicting it right now.
I agree. I agree.
Don't
100%.
do it, Liam. Don't do it.
Save yourself.
You owe it to your brother not to go down like that.
It's a
Don't do it.
paycheck. We get it.
Yeah,
But save yourself.
we would do it. I would go down, but who the fuck am I?
Right.
I'm not Liam Hemsworth. So don't do it. Don't fucking do it, Liam.
Another show that I liked. I don't know if you guys seen it. Was The Recruit.
Haven't seen it.
It was on
Haven't seen it.
Netflix. It's
Tell
spy.
us about it.
It's spy fanfare, but in a different element. The show is based off of like a CIA lawyer who gets in too deep where he shouldn't, and he's kind of thrown in the
I
middle
remember the
of
trailer.
like,
remember
like
the trailer.
some CIA espionage, trying to get this lady who's threatening the CIA through what they call gray mail. So basically, like gray mail is like all
Like
the
Grey
threats.
Worm? Grey
Yeah,
Worm?
it's like all the threats that people make against the government.
Oh,
But
wonderful.
they have to take them seriously and find out if they're credible. So they give them to lawyers, more so the starting off lawyers, and they got to look through all this gray mail and kind of do some research to see whether it's crazy person
substantial
or
threat.
legitimate. Yes. And so he finds a legitimate piece of mail, and without blowing it up, he follows it down, and it gets him into a shit ton of trouble. The show was surprisingly good, surprisingly well written. A bunch of no-name actors, with the exception of one or two people in there. But by the end, it's a very enjoyable ride. It's short. It's like 6 episodes or 8 episodes. Plot twist galore, and it was done well. So if you're looking for
how does it compare to something like Burn Notice, which is what this sounds very similar to?
here's the difference is Burn Notice was fantastic.
Yep.
And it was the top of the line spy who was burned. This is a lawyer
Yeah.
who gets thrown in way too deep, way too quick at the beginning of his career.
Struggling protagonist.
Just kind of like fumbling his way all the way through to the end. And he's just smart enough, just charismatic enough to get to the next goalpost. But every time he gets there, he's got to figure another way to get to the next goalpost. And it's a really good show. It's a really good show. A lot of emotions up and down. Like he battles with having to do things that he's like, I'm a lawyer. I shouldn't be involved in this. But they're like, you're here.
You're in it.
You're involved.
You're in it now.
Yeah, good show if you like spy crafty shows. I think it's something to watch.
Did everybody see Wet Avatar?
No.
Avatar: The Way of the Wet.
Avatar.
I finally saw it.
Avatar.
I saw it fresh last night.
Give
Saw
us
it.
your review.
My review of it. I'll say this. It was good.
It's a movie.
Yeah,
that
it's a
seems
movie.
to be it is a movie.
3 hours and 20 minutes.
It's a movie. It's the best you can muster.
That's a lot of what I've seen floating around. Like it's not like groundbreaking like the first one.
No.
It's when a lot of the reviews.
It's got the best CGI I've ever seen.
That's
I was
the
going to
thing.
say
I
it
will
is
say that.
groundbreaking when it comes to the
when
CGI.
a lot of the reviews that came out were very much like visually stunning, groundbreaking graphics. I'm like, yeah, but
Yes.
that's a story.
No.
Everyone is just focusing on the look of the movie before the story of the movie.
But to be fair, if you go see it in 3D IMAX, you can get lost in the allure of how beautiful it is.
It is a beautiful movie.
Everything is absolutely flawless and seamless.
I want to see it again on an edible.
So Zuckerberg
Yes.
should fire the team that he has for Meta and hire James Cameron.
They can't.
Maybe.
They can't afford to pay the almighty James Cameron to work for
the
Meta.
award-winning James Cameron.
The award-winning, the larger than average.
yes.
James Cameron.
That's exactly where I was going.
It's the same story recycled.
Right.
It is.
It is.
And
No, it's every story. Think about it. It's every story from The Abyss to Aliens to Avatar 1, like to Titanic even. There's a fucking sinking ship.
Yeah.
It's every story he's ever worked on rolled into one beautiful piece of CGI.
It's good. It's just the movie goes through like shifts.
Yes.
Like it's like, okay, the humans are back, and I was like, okay, how are they gonna make me? Because after watching the first movie enough times, I was like, okay, I'm still on Team People.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to root for the blue people anymore.
Right.
I was like, all right, I'm on Team Human. I'm a space marine. Let's do
Yes.
this. But I was like, how are they going to twist this to make me care about the blue people again, the Na'vi? They had like an anti-whaling message in it.
It's bluefish.
Yeah.
It's bluefish.
Yeah, like the movie has a very strong anti-whaling. Like I feel like they targeted Japan with this movie.
They did.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
So they made like the bad guys sort of like a whaling operation that were killing
Correct.
these big, intelligent, like
Oh, right.
almost human-like whales.
Yes.
And so you're like, oh, these people are pieces of shit. Okay, I don't feel so
So-
bad when
and
the Na'vi
to,
killed
and to
them.
make it more egregious, they had Tarzan in the movie.
Oh.
Tarzan Spider,
like-
or is his
yeah,
name
yeah,
Spider?
Spider.
a.k.a. Tarzan. He's running around in a loincloth with dreads, which is cultural appropriation.
and they refer to him as
Cultural
Monkey
appropriation.
Boy. Monkey Boy.
So
Monkey
you're-
Boy.
you're not-
Yeah.
you're
I
not-
mean, what the fuck?
You're not kidding where you're saying it's all the movies.
It's all the movies
Yeah.
rolled into one. But look, to be fair, it is a good movie. It's something
It
you
is.
can watch with the family, enjoy.
But it is fucking long. If you have adult diapers, put them on.
Yeah.
Put them on. There's time to break them out.
Yes, definitely do not drink an entire Slurpee while watching the movie.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
There's a 90-minute segment
Yes.
where it's literally just like the kids adjusting to their new area.
Yes.
And I am not kidding.
Oh.
That shit goes on for 90 fucking minutes. It is a separate movie within a movie about the forest Na'vi kids
That doesn't
adjusting
sound
to the water.
fun at all.
No.
It's
but
not,
they make
but
it
it is
beautiful.
interesting.
They make it beautiful so you stay sitting there and you don't
Yes.
bitch because the wildlife in the sea and everything is amazing.
Eddie,
It is.
the alien life looks so
So,
real.
so wait, the blue people are now 10 feet tall with tails and gills?
Flipper hands and feet, and
So
like
the
their
water-
tails are not like cat-like.
they're
No,
webbed.
no, no, no.
They're
The blue
webbed.
guy, the blue guys. Do
The
they?
blue guy,
do
the
they now?
Na'vi-
Do they now get webbed hands?
They do not.
when
but the
living
new-
in the water.
The new Samoan blue people they meet are more like they're not like cat forest Na'vi. They're more like fisher.
Right.
Na'vi.
They've adapted to where they live.
Well, that's what I
through
mean.
evolution.
But are the blue people now like a pig when it goes feral, where grows
No,
tusks
they
and
don't-
fur?
they don't-
do they
no,
start?
no,
They
no.
even stay
Yeah.
like
A little
different-
metamorphosis?
They stay like a different hue.
Yes.
There's like a different bluish hue. You can tell two of the different Na'vi species.
Okay.
Apart.
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it's like
One's an
all the
aquamarine
Na'vi
type.
in the planet have a different
Based on their environment.
yeah, different but similar genetic makeup. So yes, and I'm sure like after this they're gonna go into desert Na'vi and they're gonna shoot
Subterranean?
fire.
Subterranean?
Subterranean Na'vi, maybe swamp Na'vi. I'd like to see some swamp Na'vi.
Okay.
I think that would be cool.
I saw some swamp Na'vi in Loxahatchee.
little bit of a Cajun accent Na'vi
Yeah.
coming through.
Yeah, they're driving around with trucks with balls hanging out the back. That's how you know a swamp Na'vi when you see
Talking
one.
like talking Cajun, like
Yeah.
Bayou accent. You wouldn't be able to
I
understand.
got some chew in their mouth. They're just spit in
You
a pontoon. You know?
can't understand a damn thing they're saying.
Yeah, I
Okay,
like
let's keep
that.
going. Let's keep going. Let's let the humans fight these people.
Yes, yes. So the movie was good.
So they tricked me. They tricked me into rooting for the Na'vi again.
Yes,
Way to go, James.
Yep.
You did a good
definitely
job.
worth a watch. Not a terrible movie. I would say.
worth going to see and worth definitely probably watching again on edibles.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely.
You'd lose your
Definitely.
mind. You would lose your damn mind.
In
if
a
you did
dark
that.
room, you might find yourself in your bathtub.
Yeah, swimming around.
Yeah,
you might
yeah,
drown.
with some
Talking to the earth.
What do you
I hear AWA.
like, babe? Why you putting on a wetsuit? Why you putting on? Get
What wetsuit? What wetsuit?
Get out of. All right, you know what? Bring me a wetsuit.
Yeah.
All right.
What wetsuit?
Definitely a good movie,
Yeah.
worth to watch.
How far have you guys gotten with Willow?
I'm in it, man. I'm caught up.
3
I'm caught up.
episodes
Okay.
for me.
So you're closer to where I'm at. So you're a little farther. So this is what the show appears to be to me thus far.
And I'll bounce it off
Because
you once you go.
the first episode, the characters are flat. They're boring. They're super generic. You have
oh yeah.
woman-
Strong female main character.
Correct.
super lazy womanizer prince who does
Correct.
nothing.
Favorite
right?
character. Favorite character.
Super cowardly prince who does nothing.
Don't like him.
Right. Super strong female protagonist who needs no one to save her.
Worst
Who
favorite-
needs
least
any
favorite
more of
character.
those? Captain Marvel.
The bodyguard that is letting her win the fight because that's what she was told to do.
Yes.
Who also is her lesbian lover.
Yes.
Disney.
And then the
That's
maid,
where the plus is in
the
Disney,
maid in
but yes,
distress
continue.
who's going to do everything to save the lost love.
And then the mother who knows everything that could potentially save the kingdom, but neglects to
says
tell
nothing and
everybody
sends her children
the
off to
facts.
die.
Yes. the
What the fuck?
the main
Yeah.
the main hero from the previous story who learned all of the things to not do and then does everything wrong between the end of the last time we checked in with them and now. You know evil is coming. Instead of preparing, you think if we ignore it long enough, it'll go away.
Right.
I'm just
And
happy.
they were-
I'm just happy Warwick Davis can walk. You know, it's nice to see him walk.
He does.
in
He
those
does
shots,
seem to be
you know?
moving around fairly
Yeah,
well.
no, I was
I
going to
didn't-
say
I
the
didn't know-
Lollipop Guild was in there too.
Yeah, I didn't know little people lived that long. I'm sorry.
It's-
And good for him, because he
Yeah.
does look like he's in good
Fuck
shape.
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
He's been acting
to be
forever.
real.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's probably one of my favorite parts of the show. If I had to like
Yeah.
any two characters, it's him and the guy that they let out of jail.
Borman.
Yes.
Borman is fucking.
He's entertaining.
To me, he
I like
saves
his
the
cleaver
show.
sword. I like
Yes.
his cleaver sword.
I like his attitude. He's a fucking. He's like, you're my best friend. And
Them-
then 2
them
minutes later,
fight
he's like, you're my best friend. You know,
Those
you're my
fight
favorite.
scenes are
He
weak.
is a bit of a highlight. So, I mean, by the end of the first episode, everybody's super generic. It's nothing that you didn't expect to see coming with the way things are going. By the end of like the third episode, you do get a little bit more. Like
I know, but-
the lazy prince gets a bit of a redemption. Like he backs up his sister regardless whatever's
Yeah.
happening. He grabs a sword. He gets the fuck out there, even knowing he's like, I can't probably do much. I'm grabbing a sword. I'm going out there.
Yeah, but it's like the combat is so weak in it, and they
Yeah.
rush everything.
Yeah.
Like, we're supposed to be afraid of these, what are they called? The Gales. They're like these giant monster things that show up.
Correct.
But then they're able to contend with them. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
a midget
it's-
with 2 knives fighting a Gale,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
It is a
this
little-
guy is 8 feet tall with a chain box around his head.
Yeah.
It is a little backwards there, power scaling.
You're fighting
Um,
Hellraiser and you're
Winning.
surviving.
Yeah.
You're winning. You're right. It's like Hellraiser breaking in here,
Yeah.
and I start smacking him with a fucking broom handle, and I manage to make it out somehow. No, it doesn't happen.
The cowardly prince seems to be quite a bit learned of the world around him. Quite a bit actually maybe useful because he does seem to know way more.
He is pretty smart
about the
He is
world
pretty
that's
smart.
going on.
He seems to know more
I,
than Willow.
I was pissed off about the second dwarf because I actually, like I said, I liked the 2 dwarves
Yes.
and Borman.
Yep.
The little guy with the knives,
He was fun.
He was
Yeah.
dope. He was
Yeah.
dope. I was like, kill
right
the
up
prince.
into the end.
I'm like, kill the prince.
Spoiler alert.
Kill the prince. We don't need what's his name from Spider-Man?
He plays Brock actually in Spider-Man.
A weak ass Brock.
Yeah.
He better never play Venom.
No.
Yeah. That's all
No,
I
he doesn't play Eddie Brock. He plays.
No, isn't he?
He's the school bully.
Yeah, but isn't
it's
he
not Eddie
Brock,
Brock,
in
it's,
in the movies?
No, it's
Billy Baxter.
No, he's the one that. Oh my God.
Well, while Nelson looks that up,
Yeah.
then they at least have the prince, the one of the female fighters show. Well, there is actually a power scaling here. She's not necessarily as strong, but she could be a little more agile, a little more technical. So they didn't go with the female character that's somehow stronger than someone 3 times their size, which is always an absurdity.
I mean, I'm running on love right now.
Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
you were right. He doesn't play Eddie
Yeah.
Brock. He plays Flash Thompson.
But I'm sorry. I just I'm running on love right now, man.
It's entertaining enough that I'm still watching it. They did manage by the end of like 3 episodes to make the characters a little more dynamic, but after the first episode, when all the characters were everything I expected them to be, with the way that everything's been going with movie and TVs lately, it was like, can we not do something? It would have actually been refreshing if they did these standard characters from 20 years ago versus like the way the standard characters are in every single thing nowadays.
Or how about this? Start a show where people don't need to learn lessons. Let's have some veteran
From Disney?
Listen, have some veteran warriors, some veteran wizards, and they're fighting some immensely powerful villains.
Well, the
Vox
adults.
Machina.
Yes.
See,
That's
now,
what I'm saying.
now
Like,
all
I
of
They
the
enjoy
didn't have
that.
to explain that he
You
was
don't
a
need
giant.
you don't need 6 movies of Harry Potter becoming Harry Potter.
I didn't
Yes.
even know where Scanlan got his power. I was
Goddamn
like,
right.
Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
That's right. He just
Now-
and he's slanging dick
I was like, I love it.
and having fun.
Now, it
and,
does
and
seem
he-
like they did that with all the older characters, but all the young characters seem to be so dumb that they don't have basic understanding of the world around them. Like, the princess needs to learn, like, yeah, motherfuckers are not trying to hurt you
Right.
in combat training.
Right.
Like, I mean,
because
certain
but that's
things
that's,
that, like,
that's entitlement.
yeah.
You're gonna have people
I-
watching a Disney show for the wrong reason. It's like you're gonna have people watching the show like, oh, I can't wait for the main characters to scissor. It's like, well, no, it's not what the show's about. Like,
Wait, it's not?
oh,
I mean, because that's what I
You know what I
turn.
mean, Ed?
That's what I turn on Disney Plus.
like I said, I'm running on love at this point. I'm
Yeah.
watching this show and I'm still caught up with it. I mean, as bad as Andor was, I dropped that like a
Yes.
fucking bad habit.
Yeah.
But I'm still watching this show because of how much
Nostalgia.
Willow meant to
Yeah.
me. Thank you, George Lucas and Ron Howard, for that great movie when I was a kid.
Does
That's
the
why I'm watching it.
successor with magic finally? I mean, they did a
Laura
little
Dern.
thing where like she's supposed to grow a sprout and magically it's a tree, but nobody sees it but the one character, and
Oh,
she doesn't.
she
She doesn't
cringy.
say shit about it to anybody else. Like, hey,
She
she
cringy.
grew a whole goddamn tree instead of a little sprout. Like, should
Hey.
we go find her? Like a little.
She cringy.
Yeah.
She makes
It's-
some of her forced crying and stuff. I'm like,
It's a little
And like,
Oh.
I was upset when I thought they were gonna introduce a new badass character.
No.
The one woman warrior that I did like was the lady with the axe.
the two good lesbians in the woods.
Yes. Those motherfuckers.
She was cool.
She
Yes.
was dope
That's
as
the
fuck.
lesbians we want.
Yes.
Yes. wearing, axe swinging.
Yes.
That's the lesbians we want in our shows.
Overconfident, killing motherfuckers. I was like,
and you killed her off.
She was fun. I was like, yeah, let's get another strong party member.
And you
Yes.
killed her off.
She was actually very believable.
She
That's
died
not how
way
you
too
do an
soon.
RPG, all right?
Yeah.
You recruit the character and you level them up. You don't kill them off
no,
or drop them
exactly.
right
Like she was such a badass. I was like, so she's like, and they're gonna do bad things. She's like, darling,
there. I got
they
this.
can come over here, but they're not gonna do bad things to you.
Yeah, she's
And
like,
she was-
I used to suck dick in a truck stop. Ain't nothing bad gonna happen to you while I'm around.
She
right?
sold it to me. She was
Yeah.
badass, and they killed her off way too soon.
They did. They
yeah,
did. But that's
it's just
Disney.
it was a little annoying to see how flat and generic the characters were from out the gate. Like, we don't have to start where characters so far back on the scale that they're completely idiotic and bumbling around. Like, we
Yeah.
can start with like they're a little more knowledgeable about the world. Like, they don't have to learn everything going along. We can, as an audience,
Learn.
assume they know
Yeah.
some shit
I think
and
where they-
follow along the story.
I think where they made a misstep.
without being hand fed
Yeah.
every little grain
Yeah.
along the fucking way.
But I think
Nah,
where they
that's not
made
how
a
I do things
huge
nowadays.
misstep was killing the veteran soldier too soon. I actually saw value in him in the party.
yes.
He was the voice of reason. He was the veteran. A little too old to be a
Wait
crazy
a minute.
good warrior.
I know exactly what you're talking about. They killed him off when they were all riding.
Yes.
Yes.
And wait,
None of them gave a shit.
and none of them took the fucking horse.
Yeah.
None of them gave
Yes.
a shit.
Yes. They lost a horse. They needed a horse. Now there's a horse, and they left the fucking horse.
That dude knew all of them. They grew up with him. He was involved in their
There was
family.
not a tear.
Not a
Dude,
tear shed.
not a tear. They just said, "Fuck them, gotta go."
Motherfucker got murked on the plains, and they literally next scene they're like, "Oh, we fell in the waters." Everybody,
That man knew
My
he was
shoes are
going
wet.
on a mission. He was not gonna make it back alive, and they didn't care at all when he didn't make it alive.
he died nameless, and no one gave a shit.
Yeah,
Way to go, Disney.
I think I saw Borman take his boots off. He's like, you gonna use these, bro?
Yeah,
I don't think you.
Yeah.
Are those size 11s?
yeah. Essentially, yes. They didn't give a shit about that guy. They just
Yeah.
let him die.
I thought that was a misstep to kill him off too soon. I thought he was the veteran that the party needed to kind of get there a little faster.
Yeah.
Because although Borman is the best fighter that they have,
He's clearly not the guy to lead the charge for the
Correct.
party.
and the princess isn't either.
No.
She's too far. She's got her head too far up her own ass
Yep.
and wants her own glory that she doesn't really care about the mission at
Yep.
hand. So, fuck her.
How was everybody's holiday travel experience?
Oh yes, Ian, please tell us because you
My
were
travels were great.
Oh, were they?
I stayed local,
Yeah.
did some Universal.
actually
It was quite
Universal
lovely.
was very nice.
Yeah.
It was a little packed, but it was
good
actually
time.
a really good time. It was the first year back since all the COVID nonsense
Yep.
that they did the actual party for New Year's in the park.
I'm glad you guys had a
So
good time.
some nice live concerts
Wait a
and
second.
everything else like that. But
Are you saying you didn't have a good time?
We-
I had a wonderful holiday
we did
when I
did
wasn't moving.
we did miss
Oh,
an
man.
episode. So Ian, please tell us what had happened when you went home for the holidays.
Well, I like usual when I fly home for the holidays up to Pennsylvania, I booked with Southwest Airlines. You know what I mean? And they did
Very
say,
reliable.
They did, usually.
Yep.
They did say with their the winter advisory, they said there could be some delays or cancellations from
A couple.
Thursday till Monday. is
A
what
couple.
They said.
Yep.
That's what they said.
Yep.
Few. I got there fine. Thursday flew in. Flight was a little bumpy, but nothing to worry about. Got in.
All right.
My flight out is Tuesday, so I assumed they said up until Monday there could be cancellations.
Yep.
The weather was fine.
Okay.
The skies were clear. It was cold as shit, but the skies were clear. My friend sends me a text. Thank you, Rachel. She's a listener. She sent me a text and said, you might want to check your flight. My friend Gino is stuck in Atlanta. And I said, well, they said cancellations were only going to be up till Monday.
It's possible.
I should be all right. Yeah. And my flight's tomorrow night. She said, no, I would check. And I was like, well, I didn't get any emails. Anyway, I check. At 6 o'clock on Monday night, my flight for 7 o'clock on Tuesday night is fucking canceled.
Oh,
it says
shit.
Canceled. I don't have an email. I don't have shit.
Damn.
So that's a full day before, and they didn't even tell you.
Didn't tell me. And I'm like, okay, let me start looking at some stuff. I'm looking. Rent-a-cars are already starting to disappear. BWI is out. There's not a single rent-a-car in BWI. It is done. It is gone. So I'm like, okay. Then I start seeing all the things on the news, like one woman in the airport crying, saying she spent Christmas in the airport and she can't even get home because the only flight out was $800.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Her story sucks. Here's one worse. Gentleman missed his flight because it was canceled for a heart transplant.
Oh, there you go.
So he didn't get his heart transplant. That sounds a little worse than the $800 upsell, but wow, fuck, that's a thing to miss.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I guess the moral of the story is don't have a heart transplant.
Oh, man. Not around the holidays.
Not around the holidays. It's very inconvenient.
It was a little
for
weird.
The airport.
Because I know at one point I had sent you a message checking where you were at.
Yeah.
Because one of the reports I seen, they were estimating upwards of 500 people died.
Buffalo.
Now,
Buffalo
at the same
bad.
point in time of that report, like an hour later, I saw another report where they were like, 15 people died. There's a minor difference between
a discrepancy,
500
and 15.
And 15. And I haven't heard anyone bridge the gap of about how many people actually died. But we do know, there was some people. There was a gentleman who broke into a school and then started guiding people that were stuck on the highway with the cars shutting down because, accidents into the school to get to shelter.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how cold it was in Buffalo.
That's
was
literally.
Was it James Cameron? Was it the impeccable James Cameron?
The Titanic himself, James Cameron? No. But it was 24 people or so that he managed to reroute into the school because people in their cars shutting down, dying on the side. There was a lady who was walking from one house to two houses down, and in between the two houses, I guess, fell down. Damn. And she just froze to death in the cold. Nobody got to her.
Get up,
it was
maybe?
It was
I don't know. There's a thought. Keep moving. It's stop being a lazy bitch.
It was like 4 feet of snow that got dumped on some areas.
Yeah,
it was
You would
rough.
think 4 feet of snow fell on her. Get up. Fuck.
Anyway,
I mean, did she break a leg or something?
probably broke her leg.
They didn't
Every
give
old person that
everything.
falls, for sure.
They didn't give everything that happened. But usually that's someone
Yeah.
broke a hip, they fell down,
And they can't get up. Yeah, no, that's
Plus,
pretty. That's pretty sad.
It was negative 14 where I was. I can't even imagine where it was.
But I would roll, maybe
maybe. And then you just become cased in snow.
crawl,
So, I don't know.
I would probably roll onto my back, just stick my middle fingers up, and just die like this.
Now that they find
Die
it.
frozen. So when they find me, they're like, "There's a man who knew how to live."
Yep, that's right.
One last fuck you for the road.
But anyway, I thought I had a rent-a-car.
Right.
I thought I booked through Priceline. I was like, okay, I have a rent-a-car at Avis because they were cheap.
Right.
Yep.
Everyone started jacking their prices up. And I was like,
Yes.
okay,
Oh,
well, I
yeah.
got one.
Which isn't that supposed to be against the law?
price gouging.
Price
Correct.
gouging,
You'd
right?
think it would
but
be,
the
but they definitely
airports
do.
There
and the
is-
cars rentals, they're allowed to do it.
There's a
It's fucking wild.
percentage above which it
Oh, they
becomes
price
considered
gouge.
price
Yeah.
gouging.
They
Oh
fucking
yeah.
price
But
gouge.
continue.
I thought I had a rent-a-car with Avis. Next morning, I get taken to the rent-a-car place. They don't have any rent-a-cars.
Oh, they know how to take a reservation.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
But as Seinfeld has said, they're taking all the reservations, but they don't know how to actually hold the reservation.
No, I was like, the woman that I
Correct.
spoke to inside looked like she had just lost a 10-round fight. She was
Yeah.
like, I have no cars.
Yeah,
I was like,
and she's probably been getting beat up from every person that walked in. Like, I
Yes.
made a reservation. Where the fuck is my car? But they are told to rent to the people that are there, despite reservations.
Oh, yeah.
So then
That
I went to
happened
Hertz.
to me.
I went to Hertz. Nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing there. I spoke to a gentleman who's active duty military who missed Christmas because he was in BWI.
Shit.
He got back to York. He was getting a rent-a-car to try to drive 24 hours straight to Denver. He said after he gets his rent-a-car, he's going straight to Walmart. He's buying Red Bull and Depends. And he's going to shit himself on the way back to
Woo!
I was like,
My man's got a plan.
That's a soldier.
I mean, that's
I was like,
that's the
"Sir,
astronaut plan.
That's the guy I want on the front line. That gave me hope for our military.
Goddamn right.
I was
Not
like,
the
that's
lady that fell in the snow and died.
No, not
that guy.
So anyway, so I'm like, okay, I'm fucked. Like Hertz doesn't have any, Avis doesn't have any. I finally get a hold of one enterprise in York, Pennsylvania that has an economy car left.
Right.
I get there. $750. $67 a day. All these extra charges to take it from, and I was like, I'm taking it. I'll take it straight through. I was like, I will drive straight to West Palm.
Yep.
$750.
Yeah.
I just said, fuck it, stuck it on my credit card, had coffee with my dear friend Lindsay, who's in Guam right now. She's a travel nurse. She listens to us.
Very
Thank you,
nice.
Lindsay.
Thank
We're
you.
Guam.
Yes.
We're international.
Yep.
You wouldn't
Big
fall
here
on
at
the
Sofa
floor
Kingdom.
in the snow and
No,
just
she
die.
wouldn't.
No.
She wouldn't. She's
You're a
very
fucking
athletic.
fighter. You're a fucking
Lindsay,
fighter.
Lindsay goes hiking and shit. She sleeps in fucking fire towers in
Goddamn
Seattle.
right.
She's living it up.
It's like running wild with Bear Grylls. All right.
That's right. Lindsay's like Bear Grylls with a bigger dick. So anyway,
Hold on a second.
Hold on.
You just can't brush past a bigger dick.
Listen, trust me. So, I got coffee with her, caught up with her. I left.
Right.
I started driving at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. I pulled in to West Palm Beach Enterprise at 8 a.m. Wednesday.
Damn.
I got straight through. It was 18 hours. I had a 5-6 hour window to sleep.
By yourself?
Yes. Richmond, Virginia, fuck me. I spent 2.5 hours. First of all, I've never been to Richmond, Virginia. Fuck you. That's why you lost the Civil War.
Goddamn
I
right.
drove 2.5 hours.
Goddamn right.
2.5 hours at 7 miles an hour around Richmond.
Oh,
Damn.
It tested my limits of sanity.
Damn.
I had to pee for like a majority of it.
What?
But I couldn't stop because everybody's going 7 miles an hour. They'd see my little dick. So I was like, all right. I lost my window to sleep.
Yeah.
For the last 5 hours, I hallucinated. I listened to the Sofa Kingdom podcast. I had
Very
2
good
coffees.
policy. When hallucinating,
No.
listen to the Sofa King
podcast. It actually helped.
Yes.
I listened to an entire Limp Bizkit album from 1999.
Okay.
I listened to the entire Toxicity album from System of a Down.
Okay, not bad, not bad.
I listened to a new podcast that we could actually talk about, Dudesy. It's really funny. It's really fucking
all
funny.
right, okay.
They have their entire podcast.
Sounds like Australian guys, perhaps.
It's one of the guys from Mad TV and another dude that helps them out, and their entire podcast is done by an AI. What they talk about and their skits is completely done by an
I've
AI.
heard of this
Yeah.
before. Okay,
It's-
yes.
It's very fucking funny. All
Okay.
they talk about is pro wrestling and nerd shit. It's great. Anyway,
That's all right.
I listened to that, Joe Rogan. But anyway, I made it. The last 5 hours, like I said, I was fucking hitting myself.
Yeah.
95 sucks through North Georgia and South Carolina. It's
Yes.
terrible. But once I actually got to a place where I could go 80 miles an hour the whole time, I got here.
Yeah.
Fucking
So
banking.
I did it. It's probably going to be the longest drive I ever do in my life. I will not do it again.
Yes.
But I did it. And I got home. For you guys, I'm here to back to the Sofa Kingdom podcast.
Goddamn right. A little late though.
A little bit, yeah.
A little late. But it doesn't matter because if you would have gotten here in time, I had laryngitis for the last several days. I sounded like
It's not Christmas till you have laryngitis.
I sounded like a bull dyke for like the last 20.
You sounded like the lady in the forest in
Oh,
Willow.
yeah, I was just like, guys.
That's a
And he's like, "What'd you say?" I started to learn sign language because I didn't know if I was going to get my voice back at a certain point in time. Had to go back to the doctor a second time to get a second round of antibiotics. And I have to tell you, the doctor was presently enthusiastic about me getting a tube shoved in my nose. She's like, "Well, if this round of antibiotics doesn't work, you need to see an ENT. They're going to take a tube. They're going to shove it in your nose."
Like you
To get
have any effect on whether the antibiotics are working for you.
Right, but she said it like 4 times so enthusiastically. She's like, "Yeah, don't come back here. You go to the ENT. Here's the paperwork. They're going to shove a tube in your nose. Not down your throat because you'll gag, but it's going to go through your nose. It's very uncomfortable." Like, I felt like she thought I was in there trying to, like, I don't know, game her for antibiotics. Like, I can barely...
you'll still gag. It hurts like shit.
I'm barely...
In the nasogastric tube in fucking
Yeah, they're
sucks.
supposed to
I'm
numb
barely-
you up a
sucks.
bit.
I'm
yeah.
barely talking.
I put
And-
those in. That
But
sucks.
she was looking at me like I was trying to go in there for Oxycontins. I was like, "I just want to talk. Please let me talk."
No, that's not what we do here. You're getting a fucking tube in your nose.
You're getting a tube in your nose, and if that doesn't work, they got one for your ass.
Yeah, that'll clear your larynx.
Yeah, I'm like, well, just hand me over that one first.
Nothing makes you forget about your fucking nose and throat than a tube in your
Then a
ass.
tube in your ass.
All your focus goes straight to that.
was one of the main lessons Major Payne taught me.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you ever see the opening sequence for Major Payne when the guy like loses a leg? He's like, "Give me your arm, soldier," and he's like, he breaks his arm. He's like, "My arm." He's like, "You see, you don't feel the pain in your leg." Like, what a dick move! His legs got blown off in the war, and you break his arm too, asshole.
Major Payne. That was a masterpiece.
That was such a good movie. That was
the little ever tell you a story, little engine of good.
Bro, he was
Chugga.
spot on, like military from Georgia, because I was stationed in Georgia for my basic training, from the gold teeth to the hat to the. Let me tell you something, boy. Like, fuck, it was good. It was good. The man with the golden teeth and the golden heart.
That was such a great movie.
What else we got in there, Eddie?
There was a couple of trailers. Guardians 3.
Yeah, Guardians 3 and Quantum Mania look great.
Okay, yes. They
That's
both,
what's coming down the pipe.
they
Shazam 2, though?
it's iffy.
DC,
But-
listen, James Gunn is just canceling every fucking.
And
he
Shazam 2
is
made it.
going back to square
Because
one
here's
with
the thing
almost
with
everything.
Shazam. Like, the trailers for Shazam 1 did the same thing to me, where I was very skeptical. But then I went in, and the movie was really funny.
I
The
did
movie
say
was
that.
really good.
When I saw the trailer for Shazam 1, I felt the same thing. I was like,
Yeah.
this is corny. This
So
is going to suck.
I'm gonna
and
give
I
it
loved it.
I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt
Yeah.
because I'd rather a corny trailer and a great movie than a great trailer and a shitty movie.
Like
Yes.
the Eternals.
Yeah.
Eternals, I was like, oh, this is going to be the greatest Marvel movie ever. And then I was like,
Yeah,
oh, this is a
Eternals
film,
had quite a bit of
Oh.
promise, but again, they were trying to expand beyond their normal range of movie, and they did, but it wasn't as successful as I think they were anticipating it to be.
Well, they did. I think they fumbled a little bit when it came to Eternals, making their most powerful and beautiful character Athena. You got Angelina Jolie,
Yep.
and then you're gonna make her crazy,
Yeah,
like potentially.
She's
the
got big old duck
offset of like she's the opposite of the hero that you want to see in any
Yeah.
kind of a movie, especially when the odds are
Especially
stacked against them already.
on the first movie, like they
Right.
could have maybe done that like in the second or the third one,
Right.
But right out the gate on the first one, but it's almost like they're at the end. They're starting at the end of their life.
Yes, and then fucking up Salma Hayek too, because there's another like a beautiful actress who has a command of acting. Like
Yep.
she has a presence, and she was that motherly figure to them. They could have used her throughout the movie, maybe
Yep.
killed her at the very end of the movie, or like you said, save that for something down the
Yeah.
line. Where here you have the whole team, the odds are against them, they get through.
But they did also establish them different than what they're supposed to be. They're synthetic life forms that can be reborn at any time. So they can upload previous conscious lives into them.
Right.
And that's part of what
Whoa.
Athena's issue is. Her previous lives aren't erasing properly.
Right.
And now it's almost like hard drive failure.
Right.
Where she's losing place of where she's at and what she's doing. And
But-
The Eternals are more complex than what meets the eye.
Yes, but here's the thing.
Yes.
It's bullshit.
They could have done a better job.
It's a
Yeah.
bullshit
Putting
premise.
it through.
It's a bullshit premise because here's an alien race who can like build and destroy cosmic life at a grand scale.
Yep.
And y'all motherfuckers don't know how to wipe the hard drive. You guys don't know how to fucking reboot the system properly. I
Well,
don't know. I'm
their-
not buying it.
their
They
main-
don't have a
What are
geek
we on?
squad
Their-
in the cosmos.
Their main system of reboot is just murder them and drop out a new pair.
What are we on Marvel Phase 4?
We are at the end of Marvel Phase 4.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to lie. Phase 4 was the weakest phase yet.
It was.
Yes.
It was. I mean,
It was.
it's like I'm not saying that Disney and the creative minds at Marvels are trying to make us lose interest.
Yes.
But it feels like there might be like a couple.
They had
I think it was far too much setting up and not enough delivery on what they promised.
they had a massive uphill battle after Endgame. They really they have such a lot that is ended quite literally that they have to now rebuild it all, but they're rebuilding it after the spectacular and spectacle that they just finished telling.
There were
So
some diamonds.
anything-
There were some diamonds in the.
I mean, there was some good
yeah.
stuff, but I think almost
Spider-Man,
anything they would have done
Shang-Chi.
wouldn't have
Shang-Chi was
looked
okay, yeah.
as good as what they just finished.
Right,
I
it's
think
just-
that's the problem.
It's lost some of its luster.
Because let's
And
be
gotta
honest,
do
they could have
something.
could have been doing as good as DC's been doing.
but listen,
Well,
if
nothing is going to match the fucking dumpster fire full of babies that is DC.
I think-
DC's awful.
I
That's
think
hard to be worse.
where
And-
they
and that's
shined was at
why
the end
he's-
of the year with the
get
Black
rid of
Panther,
everything.
Yeah.
right? With the Black Panther,
Yep.
it did fantastic.
They're showing hope.
Yes,
They are.
And then the 2 trailers give me a lot of hope. Ant-Man
Guardians
looks fantastic.
looks great
Yes.
too.
Guardian
So,
looks to deliver as well. And so I think that just as much as they kind of lost a little luster or a little favor with some of the fans, I think those 2 movies, if they deliver,
Yeah.
can bring everybody back into play.
I think the
all right,
shows-
we're back at
I mean, the shows are an interesting way to introduce a character, but I think the shows do much better to show more diverse background of a character that's already established.
there were a lot
Like
of
WandaVision did more for the character because we already had knowledge of them.
Right.
You know, the Captain America show did better for Falcon and Winter Soldier because we already had background
But-
with them. Now,
But then they fucked up in Doctor Strange when it came to WandaVision.
They did.
Because
They did.
WandaVision was so fucking excellent
yeah.
that when you saw her reprise her role, you were expecting so much more.
they made it into a horror movie.
Yeah, and she delivered as an actress.
Oh yeah, she
But
did.
I think that they took the character in the wrong direction.
They took a lot of things in the wrong direction, like the music fight and then Undead Strange, and then it was just
Yeah.
Sam Raimi doing his thing.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was,
Sam Raimi
but
doing
it
his thing,
wasn't.
and
It
it's-
really wasn't what the Marvel universe needed at that time.
No, I didn't like
no,
it.
it wasn't. Yeah, and
that's
honestly,
one of the things that was counterintuitive.
and that was a bit of
Yeah.
a conflict because they needed to do something with the character. So to have the character fall essentially, so they could do something later to build them back up is kind of where the character was at. But it is that point of where the character was at was not necessarily in line with where the Marvel
Right.
universe
Listen,
needing
Yeah.
a story was.
okay, but
at.
there's falling and then there's Satan falling.
Yeah.
Okay, because she's fucking tearing up Mr. Fantastic. Like, I hope your children got a mother.
Yes.
Fucking rip you into pieces. Oh, Captain Carter. Hey, Peggy, eat this shield literally in your fucking stomach. I mean, they took her to a place where I don't think she's redeemable.
But then again, in the comics, she wipes out. She erases motherfuckers from existence.
But that's an end
That's-
game move. That's not a Doctor Strange, Wanda team up, a multiverse that we were. I think everybody was expecting a different kind of multiverse fight where you could have had.
I wasn't
So
expect-
should she
I
have
wasn't-
been the villain for Phase 4, perhaps?
I don't know. I wasn't
She
expecting
could've
a
been.
horror movie. I was
No.
like, what the hell?
But they could have had like the Doctor Strange and the Wanda of ours fighting the evil Doctor Strange and an evil Wanda.
They
and
could've-
that could have
yeah.
been a doper.
Yeah, they could have done it that
way
way.
of doing
I
it.
think the problem is if they would have dragged out an evil arc with her any longer than one movie, good luck redeeming her.
I'm just looking at it from the point of view of a fan. Just a fan watching it. I'm starting to feel myself lose interest in it. I'm starting to feel myself lose interest in the Marvel. I mean, I get excited when I see the trailers for Quantum Mania.
But
and
it's also
something-
it's
but, like,
also
okay,
a lot of content.
But here's the thing too, right?
It's a lot of content
Think about
coming
this. Like, okay, there was a couple of follies. Eternals, Doctor Strange didn't quite deliver.
Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel didn't quite deliver, but there was
She-Hulk turned a lot of people off
there
because
was-
it wasn't for everybody.
but there was a lot of gems too. Loki was great. WandaVision was
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
I think Captain the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Moon Knight was
very
even stale at
underrated.
certain
Great.
points.
Moon Knight was
yes.
great. Look, and the sleeper Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Like, Hawkeye was really fucking
Yeah.
good.
And that's what I'm saying. I think
Speaking of that, Jeremy Renner.
the
Oh,
shows
He
I think
plowed himself.
I think
Yeah,
the
he did.
shows worked better for already established characters because
Yeah.
the Miss Marvel wasn't bad. I enjoyed it, but it might have done better if she was established first a little bit, and then we got some backstory for her character.
I found
'Cause
myself
we're
having a hard time
giving,
caring.
being a little more
Yeah.
invested in the
But-
character before we're given
Yeah.
kind of this little backstory.
But for
kind of
Miss
thing.
Marvel, again, I think it all falls back to that wasn't necessarily for us.
That's
I
true.
think Miss Marvel was trying to speak to a younger generation.
I don't think She-Hulk was for me, but I
to
still
pull
liked
him
it.
in. She-Hulk is for everyone.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely a fan
Look,
of that.
green meanie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Jeremy Reiner did literally plow himself.
Yes.
Like, he got really hurt.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
I think
He
critical
was in critical
condition.
condition.
When I
He's
last
stable,
saw.
but I hope he does well because
Another guy
he's a
that-
cool, super cool guy.
Well, another guy that's not doing too well right now is that Hamlin player for the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if you guys heard about that. The game
Hamlet.
Hamlin.
No,
The
he
guy-
got
he's
sang?
he's a defensive player, I
Football.
believe. Yeah,
What happened
he's
to
a
him?
defensive player for the Buffalo Bills. The game actually got postponed, and like out of all the bad hits we've seen throughout
Yeah.
NFL history,
bad, huh?
the game keeps going.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they take the guy off the field.
considered probably the worst hit in football, and then people were actually
Well, he made a tackle. He made a tackle
Like-
on somebody, but then he went into full out cardiac arrest. Like
Yeah.
they performed CPR on him
Shit.
for 10 minutes.
Damn.
Like the broadcasting was cut. They performed like CPR on him for 10 minutes. They managed to get his heart started, and they took him to a nearby hospital in Cincinnati. But the game literally is postponed. Like the
Right.
Bills left, the Cincinnati Bengals left. We'll try again some other time.
now
Like,
there
all
was
thoughts and prayers.
some-
are with
No,
the family,
that's
yeah.
something that you have to do at that time.
Yeah.
But and then you got people just falling in the
Well,
snow and
here's-
dying.
And then you got soccer
Here-
players faking injuries.
Here's the thing. That's what you would hope that as other human beings you go, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
it's-
end the game here. Unfortunately, you did have some commentators who were assholes like these guys need to go back out there and finish the game and do their jobs.
Right.
And then you have some other people sitting there like, hey, asshole.
Right.
They just watched the worst thing that they can expect to happen on the field
Yeah.
to one of their colleagues. You want them to go do their job?
Yeah. You
And
know.
any other job, if somebody falls down like that
Yeah.
and is being rushed with an ambulance, you don't expect them to just get up and go right back. Now, if you're in a hospital, perhaps,
Yeah.
but in almost any other field, you're like, oh, you mean one of the worst things that could possibly happen to you on your job just happened? And you expect everyone to just get up and
Yeah, no.
perform? Like, shit.
Especially a team full of guys that train with
Okay,
this
but
guy
shit's
and-
fine.
Yeah.
But to be fair, right? When you watch fight sports, people have broken their feet, their legs,
Yep.
shattered. People's eye sockets pop out of their head, like,
Yeah, that's a more brutal.
and the next fight continues on. Now I
Yeah.
know it's a slightly different thing, but it is a sport, so there is sort of this. It's fucked up,
It
and
is.
I'm with you guys, but to play devil's advocate, there is the other side of it where it's like, hey, you guys signed up for this. We're all adults here. The game has to go on. But it is a fucked up and unusual
Yeah.
circumstance.
I just can't
But-
imagine like them like evacuating the whole thing. Like, all right, everybody go home. Like, damn.
Yeah.
It must have been
That-
as of 45 minutes ago. He's still in critical condition.
I
Yeah.
imagine they
damn.
thought that man died on the field. So they're
probably
like,
did.
listen, we need to get these people out of here.
Yeah, they probably
Yeah.
did. He's still in a positive note to come out of
For
this.
the people listening that
Yeah.
hear Ian sounding like he's far away,
Is it sound like I'm far away?
he still hasn't realized he needs to
my
angle
face- my face.
angle the mic towards him. He
that-
keeps
is that
putting it up straight. He needs to
it?
angle the mic. No, no,
Like
yep.
that?
There we go. That's a little better.
A little
That's a little better.
Okay. All right. Yeah. A positive to come out of it is his GoFundMe right now. He had a GoFundMe set up for like toys for children for the holidays. It's over $5 million right now. So
Nice.
Well,
this drew a lot of attention to it. Not to say that
the only
Good thing
thing
it happened,
the only
just-
thing as sad as that, and I hate to do this to you guys, is that they canceled Echo for next season, and they
Oh.
canceled the spin-off to WandaVision, which I think is a terrible move. The Agatha Harkness,
cancel it all.
they canceled it. So there are only 3 shows coming out next season.
Yeah.
Loki, season
Okay.
2, Secret Wars,
Okay, I'm looking forward to that.
and Ironheart.
Yeah, they're cutting back.
Everything else is
Oh,
cut.
can we
They're
trade
cut-
Ironheart for WandaVision?
They're-
I would have. I think she's a fantastic
Can we
actress.
choose?
Yeah.
And people would love it because it was going to be like the arc, like it was going to be a whole story arc on her and the witches.
Yes.
That would have been cool to
But
watch.
so what they're essentially doing is cutting back and just doing the main storyline, I believe. So like so instead of having branching other characters that aren't contributing to like the main end game that's coming up, so to speak, it's like we're gonna divert the eyes and attention over in this direction. This branching path that leads to nowhere, and this
So they're
branching
trimming
this
the fat.
branching path that leads to nowhere in terms of the long-term story that we currently have planned. That stuff is kind of being pruned,
Yeah.
so to speak, with Loki. And they're trying to stay with a little more
I
consistent
can
and a little
see that.
more streamlined
Okay.
to avoid the fact that there's so much content. And that's a
Yes,
bit
yes,
of
yes.
pushback they're getting is like, we can't keep up with everything that's going on is one of the big critiques that people are kind of giving them.
Right. Well, I don't know. Get a grip, motherfuckers, and watch it and enjoy it. But I'm not completely on board with it. I like the idea, but like also like something like the Agatha Harkness, where it doesn't have to tie into the whole story.
Yep.
It's just its own little thing. 6 episodes. She's an intriguing enough character.
And honestly,
she's
it
a great
can-
actress.
it can
I think it
turn-
could stand alone by itself.
It can turn back into the story in terms of like, a redemption arc for Wanda.
Yeah.
Another swing at a big she needs a massive villain to fight against. And honestly, if it isn't someone magic, you're hard pressed to find someone Wanda won't fucking instantly murk.
No. Here's how you do it. Hear me out. Wanda kills Captain Marvel. They go head to head. She snaps her neck. She's the hero.
No. We need Rogue to kill Captain Marvel so we get a proper fucking Rogue in the MCU.
The original Rogue from the original X-Men movie, who also played in the vampire show on TV, True Blood.
Yep.
True Blood.
She is reprising her role in some aspect as Rogue in one of these up-and-coming movies.
I'm not against that.
Is she gonna fly around and punch shit?
I am against it for the reason that she wasn't the Rogue I wanted.
But she wasn't the Rogue you wanted because that was the story she was given to tell.
She's a great actress.
It wasn't that she was portraying it bad based. She was portraying the bad script that was given. It wasn't that she was a bad actress doing a bad job.
I just think that True Blood after season 2 sucked. So yeah, we should not give her the job.
I agree. True Blood was one of those shows where like it was on the Game of Thrones level for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then they started doing Were-Panthers.
Were-Panthers and fairies.
I mean, they mustered enough goodwill with me with the first few seasons that I watched the whole way through.
So did I.
I finished it.
So
man.
did I.
I finished
Yeah.
it too.
But reluctantly. And I even thought there was a glimmer of hope at the end when they brought in the guy from SVU, like Law and Order. I'm like, this is gonna be great. How could they fail?
Were-Panthers, man, that's how you fail.
Were-Panthers.
I'm not sure where that original story was based off of, and if it got that weird as the series went on with the books, because it's almost always based off somebody's books.
Yes.
But yeah, they did start like running out of steam and like we need more weird shit to throw in here.
All right,
All the
guys.
great stuff from the first season is just lost.
To end the episode, let's leave the people with a little something happy to think about. What was the worst movie or TV show
I mean, it's easy for me.
2022 that you thought you saw? All right, go ahead, Ian. I know what you're gonna say.
Witcher Blood Origin by far. It's probably the worst show I've seen in recent memory. I cannot think of a more recent and profound shitting on of a fan base ever.
Ooh.
I mean, it's if you love The Witcher, you love the source, you love the games, you love the books, you love Henry, and as the this is a perfect way to break your heart. This is a perfect way to make a nauseous when you find pictures on your phone or your girlfriend sucking another dick.
Yeah.
That feeling you want to recreate it. Turn on The Witcher Blood Origin if you love The Witcher, and you're gonna get it right there in your gut.
I can't say that I disagree. So,
how about you guys?
okay, for me, I'm gonna have to agree with another YouTuber that I watch who I find hilarious. I was watching the Moist Meter, and he was doing the moisties. I didn't realize how bad of a movie Jurassic World was until this man described the plot. And then I went back in my head and I revisited Jurassic World, and it absolutely was the worst way to end a franchise that I enjoyed. I enjoyed most of Jurassic Park. I never thought it was anything that I was going to be like, oh my God, this is the Dead Poet Society, but I enjoyed it. The last movie was absolute shit, and I'm going to have to go with Jurassic World for...
You mean you weren't excited about, like, the pterodactyl tearing apart a plane in full flight? I mean,
I would have been if the writers for Witcher Blood Origins were inside the plane.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed
I would have
that.
fully supported it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd have paid for 3 tickets.
Yes, me too.
I
Eddie?
mean, the last thing I watched that was just god awful, I think it was the Roswell remake.
Ooh, Roswell remake was pretty bad.
I made it through
I don't know if you've seen it.
the
I've seen
first
the original
season.
Roswell.
I liked the original, but back then,
I liked
it's
the
not
original.
rewatchable.
I liked the original enough that I actually bothered reading the books that
Right.
followed up with the rest of the story.
Right.
Oh.
So seeing the remake absolutely butcher and ruin and destroy any bit of heart that was there in the original series.
Yes.
Really was rough. I mean, I made it through the first season, but man, it was like
It's tough.
it was
It was forced,
That's
is
a,
the word.
That's a hell of a commitment.
Yes.
The
That's a
show
hell of a
was
commitment.
forced. They tried to force every kind of ethnicity, race, and hero into this story that didn't need it.
Yes.
So here's the thing: I am not angry when they want to be inclusive. I'm all for inclusiveness, right? But when it's forced,
I mean, you like the
that's
Lord of
when
the
I
Rings
don't.
new show, so that's
I love the Lord
That's a
of the
fact.
Rings new show, but I don't like it being forced down my throat.
Every
I'm not into
character
that.
had
That's why
to
you didn't go to
be.
the ENT doctor.
That's
Every character had to be some
that's why I'm
form
going
of
to the NT.
minority, and it had to be like a main thing of their background with an issue that was happening.
Yeah.
And that was that yeah, there were some areas that were very very much forced. And for me, when I think of like if being inclusive with the story, them being a thing shouldn't have to be their thing.
Right.
Like if the character is gay or trans or bi or a different race or whatever, it having to be their whole story,
Right.
and their issue with everyone
And
around
that's what
them
I mean by force.
pretty
removes
dumb,
you
yeah.
from the story.
That's
like
what I mean
they're
by
a
force.
human being.
Right.
Let them be a human being that
Correct.
so happens to also be whatever
Right.
it is.
It
So
should-
we can have a character in a show we like be gay.
Correct.
But
Yes.
we don't have to have a 15-minute like clip of him fucking another
Like
dude.
he
Yeah.
doesn't
Right,
have
or
to be
his life doesn't have
abused
to
by
be-
his father
Right.
because he was gay.
Right. It
That
doesn't have to be a horrible
Yeah.
outlook on that version of life, because that's what they want you to really believe. And some people do go through that, and we do understand that. But for the most part, most people in the general world that they're in, it's a much more accepting society. I would like to think.
I think
Yeah.
most people want everyone to be happy and accepted and to live a productive life.
Yeah.
Except for me.
Yeah. And on that note, thank
Yep.
you for joining the Sofa Kingdom podcast. Oh, there we go. Thank you for joining us at the Sofa Kingdom podcast, where Eddie doesn't know what fucking button to hit to end the goddamn episode.
I think he knew.
I just
think he knew.
looked over and reached. I didn't
I think he
maintain.
knew. I think he knew. What
I
he was
didn't
doing.
maintain
Yeah.
eye contact.
I think he
Yeah,
did.
I heard you don't maintain eye contact for a lot of things.
Oh man.
You dirty dog.
Dirty dog.
You dirty dog.
Using people.
That's right. You can find us on all your social media platforms at
Sofa Kingdom
You
OFC.
can find us on YouTube at
Sofa Kingdom podcast.
Yes.
We're gonna try something new. I want you to force somebody against their will to listen to the Sofa Kingdom.
That's right. Lock them in a basement.
Yeah. Either
Duct tape 'em.
dye their eyes open, and you put us up on YouTube
That's
right in front of
right.
them.
Goddamn right. And you
Against
make
their
them
will.
watch.
I want you to bring people in your car, and I want you to play us on the radio. I want you to force people. To
Yeah.
listen to
Tell them Matt Hilton said
Yeah,
that.
and
That's right,
Speaking
Matt
of
Hilton.
speaking of forcing people, the Latino community does not want Latinx. I don't know why you people keep trying to tell us that that's what we are now, but
We're not that.
no.
We're motherfucking
No.
Boricuas.
Can anyone find me a Latin person that says Latinx? Because
Professor Xavier. It's a subdivision of the X-Men.
can we even find a proper pronunciation? Because people keep saying it differently.
Latinx.
Yeah, that's the other way.
Latinx.
People try to make it sound like an actual fucking word.
That's right.